Of course, it's Monday, so the TTPS joins us on the Now Morning Show in the form of Inspector Michelle Lewis. Good morning to you, Inspector.
Good morning to you, Ruckus. Good morning to you, Natasha. How are the both of you?
Good.
So far, so good. How you doing?
Good morning, Trinidad and Tobago and the World Wide Web.
How do we continue to navigate this period of time, this season called election campaigning?
The days continue to count down to the 28th of April.
21 days.
I have registered already as a special elector.
Oh, look at you.
Well, I've submitted.
Right.
And so as a police officers, because we have duty on that day, we can register as special electors to vote so that our
So you can place your focus 100% on
is
protection.
not infringed. And yes. So
There we
for
go.
officers who desire same, we have done that. So yeah, so so that will not take away from anything from a police officer and the duties that we have to do because it's a long day for officers, just as it is for election and boundary officials.
And media people too.
Yeah.
Well,
It's a great long day
the
for
thing
everybody.
with the police is that once we take that oath in that room, we are there.
Of
The
course.
media,
Yeah.
you know, you all scout around, you all go from, you all are not allowed to stay in the room.
But we gotta wait outside.
We, like everybody
And you
else.
can go and come.
No, we
No,
cannot
no.
go in and come. We
We
have to be
have
there to get all the information from the time it
If
drops.
we don't have to stand by the gate, like one year I had to stand by the gate outside the
So
gate.
just make sure you're not in the colors of any political party.
That's a good
There
piece
we
of
go.
advice.
That would
Yeah.
be vying for any of the electoral districts.
Yeah.
That's it. Yeah.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
just make sure that you wear black or something like that or brown.
Easy.
But this morning we are looking at how the police service can share information with the public
Right.
in relation to election, parliamentary election, and making sure that you remain safe, making sure that you respect the rights of other persons. But I also want to share some information to the public as it pertains to police officers as we started the conversation in relation to police officers. Now, the election process, two key persons in the election organization is the TTPS, the Election and Boundaries Commission, and the Trinidad and Tobago Police Service. And so these two entities must always remain free and fair, and that level of integrity must always be there. So that in the case of police officers, and the Representation of the People's Act provides for it that both EBC officials and TTPS, Special Reserve Officers, Estate Police as well, we are not to engage whatsoever in any type of canvassing to persuade or dissuade a person from casting a vote. So we would have seen in recent time that persons, and the commissioner has mentioned, because it did come up in a press release, a press briefing that we had, where one of our officers has resigned to be able to take up a political position. So that as police officers wearing your uniform and being a serving member of the organization, you must always have that level of independence and integrity to be able to execute your duty as a police officer free and fair, to be able to help persons really.
Inspector, if I were to resign from my position in the TTPS today, and then within a week I am on a political platform, does that mean I was always free and fair?
It means that the position that you hold now, you are not putting the police service into disrepute.
Okay.
But that doesn't change the fact that we may not have been free or fair before. Because, of course, as human beings, we all have our biases, as the case may be, right? But what you're saying is that there's a separation between when you're doing the job that you're hired to do.
Correct.
Okay.
So once you are a serving officer and you have that uniform on, even if you're in plain clothes, but once you wear that gray and blue, you represent integrity, you stand for what is free and fair. So anybody from any political party can ask for your help, be it a candidate or someone, an agent from a particular
citizen, anybody who's a citizen of
party.
Trinidad and
Yes,
Tobago, yes.
you are supposed to be able to execute your duty to preserve order and to keep the peace.
So admittedly, it must be a challenge because, as Raucus was mentioning, the general biases, we're all human at the end of the day. So even at an organizational level, to be able to keep those checks and balances and ensure it's not influencing any actions must be hard. So is there sufficient...
It's not hard, you know.
It's not hard?
No.
Okay,
But for you.
how do you... I mean, so at an individual level, but what about at a community level? And do you have that camaraderie between officers? Do you have checks and balances once needed in order to ensure that it doesn't take place?
So once an officer joins, once a recruiter, someone who comes into the police academy, like we commonly call the barracks, right? You take an oath of office, right? That you will execute your duty without favor, affection, malice, or ill will. And it includes, especially when there are any type of election, be it parliamentary, local government election.
Okay.
So you know from the very beginning of training that you are an individual who has an high integrity, that at no time you ought to be wearing any political jersey as a serving member. Even if you're on vacation, you're still a serving member of the police service. So you will not be doing that. And there are fines, there are consequences to it. There is a consequence to it if any police officer goes that way. So the law says that under the summary offenses, you can be charged $30,000 and up to 12 months and 12 months imprisonment. So it's a serious offense because you represent a particular standing for free and fair election, and so anybody ought to be able to. So just as the police, we have our right, we do have a right to vote, but we also have the right to uphold law and peace, regardless of who we may want to vote for, if we choose to vote at all, right? And so that you would see police officers at political meetings ensuring that
keep the peace.
Correct. So if in your head you do have an option to whoever, that is not supposed to be seen. It's not supposed to be in writing. It's not supposed to be
anywhere.
Correct.
Now, we saw that last Friday, the president would have called out the Volunteer Defense Force. Do you have any insight into that in terms of assisting the police service in terms of getting ready for general election?
Well, I know from time to time, whenever there's anything in the country that we require that augmenting of personnel from law enforcement, we usually see that happen. We would have seen it before with the SOE, we would have seen it with different events that take place in the country. It's a normal process to augment the strength to make sure that peace is maintained throughout the country. So you have the police officers who would be doing particular duties. And then you also have the special electors that are also guarded by the police officers. Those boxes would also be under it will have the returning officer, but police officers are also there to guard because remember, a special election is taking place before. And of course, the escort, right? So you get that support from the defense force and the different formations under the defense force together with the police special visit.
Okay, and something we would have discussed not last week but the week before when you were here would have been the reports of criminal damage and so much more that do happen during this time. So since the time that we were apart, have you seen any sorts of increase when it comes to not peace being kept?
Yeah, so as the heat gets higher, we will see persons, you will see it in the media.
Okay.
So we're encouraging persons that if you are a victim to any of those, simply go to your station district or any police station, because you may be out of your station district when something happens, and just inform the police, make a report, and the police will do the needful. So it will fall under any one of the offenses that already exist in law. There's no, other than returning officers and police officers, I can think under the Representation of People's Act, any criminal offense outside would fall under the normal laws of Trinidad and Tobago.
Okay.
So we really want to encourage persons who are outside there to do what you have to do within the confines of the law. Do not harass, do not intimidate, do not provoke persons where you can be charged for a criminal offense.
And destruction of property as well.
Destruction of property, because you really want, I don't think your intent is for you to get a criminal charge, right? So be very mindful that with all the zealous and the excitement that you have, that you maintain law and you keep within the laws of Trinidad and Tobago, that you are not, finding yourself on the other side of the law.
Well, Inspector, thank you so much yet again for joining us this morning. We look forward to seeing you next week again as we get closer and closer to that general election date. We know you'll have some more information for us, but do enjoy the rest of your day and your week.
Thank you very much to both of you.